Well, hello my friends. Alfred Tardo here, the Rebel Turner. And well, I mean, prior to coming out here, I have lots of things to say. And sometimes my initial thought of what I want to say, it's a good thing that I don't come out and say it right away because sometimes it's a little bit harsh. It's an old, and when I say old, it's old. It's been in the shop maybe 5 years. It's a piece of water oak from the neighborhood. One day I was passing by, or driving around specifically looking for wood because this is when I first started turning. And this guy, no, I wouldn't say a neighbor because it was a little far away from my home, but was cutting down a huge tree. I pulled over all excited and asked if I could have some of the pieces that he was cutting down. And he said, oh, by all means. So I've turned some beautiful pieces out of this with some of the most interesting bark. And when I got it, I turned, one of the first things that I turned out of it, I think it was a candy dish, and I gave it to him as a thank you. So he would have some sort of a memory from his tree that he cuts down. So back to the basics in wood turning. And the basics are, okay, what do you do when you get a half log? I actually like these shallower pieces rather than the very round that gives you a deep dish. I like the idea of a fairly straight top natural edge, and that's what this is going to be. The bark, because it's been over here so long, even though it's on there, I think, it's probably not going to come off, but I already applied some CA to that edge that had a little separation. Now, if it's separated, CA glue by itself is not going to hold it. But this will seep in and go to the area that's tight against the sapwood and make a little bit of a bond there rather than it keep separating itself all the way up. And once I get it cut fairly close to the shape that I want, then at that point I will rub some sawdust on that edge and make sure that that it binds, that it actually makes good contact. When doing natural edge, what you want to do is go cut out the flat part out until you get to the bark. So you put the bark side first towards your headstock, and then you start working the piece. People wonder, how is it that I come up with the right size tenon? Well, I have the live center here, and the live center is fairly close to the size of the chuck. So if I go just a thickness, even though I don't mark it, but I can see it when I'm doing my carve out, I know how big my tenon should be, which is about a little over 1/8 of an inch, 3/16 of an inch, 1/4 inch outside of this. Now this will grip inside my jaws, but with them almost fully closed. So if I'm anything bigger than the diameter of my live center, then I'm at the right size for the measurement of my tenon. And Hurricane bowl gouge. Speed, this. I feel comfortable with that. That's 450 RPM. Now, what I'm doing with this is I'm going to keep on turning until I get all the way to the top on these two edges for the box. So this has quite a bit of a turn. And I don't like bowls that necessarily roll over the top too much. So I have quite a bit to take, and I'm going to bring this back down from the bottom. I might even keep it concave instead of convex. So let's see how this comes out. Now, I've shown this in the past, but I'm going to bring it up again. One of the ways that I find to be a pretty good way to maintain your bark is actually by using a parting tool on the outside and then work out towards it. So I can see where I need to go. Nice and easy. Just go in there. just assures you that you're not going to be blowing it away. But I still have separation on this bark. So sand it to 220 and pine steel wool. Finish it up with Yorkshire grit, and in this case we're going to apply a new lacquer that I picked up. Well, here it is. Back to the basics. Doing the very simple. Can't get no simpler than this. Natural edge oak. And you know, the moral behind this and the reason why I'm doing this is that there is no such thing as bad wood or woods that you should stay away from. Everybody, you, anybody else, has some trees around your area. And inside those trees, there's always a few pieces that will surprise you on what comes out of it. And this is definitely a no exception. It's an oak, water oak in this particular case, which I wasn't even aware that there was such type of oak. When my working with oak would either be red oak or white oak. No such thing as water oak and all these other exotic names that they give them. But anyway, the markings are pretty nice. I mean, nothing to die for, but you know something, I will proudly display something like this. This will definitely hold some nice vegetables, fruits, things like that around the kitchen. Most of my pieces, a lot of my pieces, especially the bigger pieces, they're all throughout the house with fruits and stuff of that sort. So, so I display my work in my house, and this one, no exception to it. You know, it's a little bit big for a candy dish, but for the one with a sweet tooth that likes to always have a nice pile of good candies, it would definitely work for that as well. The finish, well, it's lacquer, so lacquer will always give you a higher buff than what I necessarily want or like. If you know me, you know that I like things a little bit more subtle than I do the super high gloss, especially when it's like things that are natural, and this is definitely a natural piece. The bark, where I discussed, because this bark was completely separated from the piece, the adding of the little bit of sawdust in there, embedding it, and keep going with CA glue. Well, there's absolutely nothing for you to look at, for you to say, oh, that was a fix. There's no such thing. It's part of the bark. That's all that's there. Well, this was a quick turn. As I mentioned, that it was going to be fairly quick because it really is down to the basics. And what I decided to do after sanding to tone down the lacquer, I decided to apply my usual finish of the OB Shine Juice on the top of it. And that will hold just fine. There won't be any side effect. What it does is it gives me a smoother overall finish to the piece. So I like the OB Shine Juice finishes. Well, hope you like it. Don't forget, give me a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Thank you. I'll see you next time.